Mute. And roll. Welcome to sunny Kent, Washington. Well, sometimes it's sunny. It was sunny for about 15 minutes. Now it's back to being gray and overcast again. So welcome to the Smithy. Yep, looks like my audio is right. How you doing, Eric? Thanks for stopping in for a minute, even if it was just for a minute. How's it going, Kevin? Ah, John's here. Hello, John. I got the fire all started. I actually got a good early start this morning. So, glad to say that. There we go. I decided to move where my camera would point. If I need to, I'll move it again. But yep, we got a good fire started. A bed of charcoal in there. Some coke on top of that. Banked some coal behind that. So we're ready. But before I get started, for anybody who ever was curious about this, let me switch to this camera and adjust accordingly. That is what $200 worth of steel looks like. And this morning, you saw sitting on my anvil the project. I'll get a little closer here so you can see the sizes. We got ourselves, now that I've slept since I actually bought this stuff. We got ourselves 20 millimeters, aka what do we say that is? Inches. 3/4 inch, then 1/2 inch, I'm pretty sure. Yep, 1/2 inch. Yep, didn't mean to do that. There it is. 1/2 inch, aka what? 12 millimeter. Yep. Got a couple of bars of that, and a couple of bars of 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter. So that's my stock that I've now supplied myself with. I can always take the, what did I say, 3/4 inch? Yep, I can always take the 3/4 inch and work it down to something smaller. But you can't really make, well, I mean, that's not true. I could upset it into something bigger. But it happens to be the 1/4 inch that I need to work with today because I need to make a new hook for my wife. She's asked me, I don't know, about a month ago now to make her a new hook. And I'm getting around to it. I need to also cut these other pieces down to a smaller size just because my storage area for it is underneath the forge. And having 6-foot lengths of metal, which is what each of these are, is just sticking out a little bit more than I'd like it to be. So I'm going to cut them down into 3-foot lengths, as I don't think I've ever forged anything that requires 6-foot lengths of steel, much less anything as long as 3 feet. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to cut a 6-inch piece off of this one, off the 1/4 inch, to get where I need to be. But before I do that, let's get this lined up. Okay, good. It's pointing towards the right direction. I just need to pivot it. There we go. Everybody's favorite view. The quench tank. we're going to go ahead and crown this. That was something I forgot to do when I last did it, and I can already feel the edges folding over a little bit. So go ahead and put away the pretty sign that Earl made for me. And maybe bring it over here. I don't think it'll be visible over here though. I need to find a way to mount this better and in frame more often. I just love it. So, bring you back to the anvil for a second. Everybody's seen a good old-fashioned S-hook, right? Nice little curly on the end, twist here, then an S around on this side, except if you're hanging pots from it, an S-hook kind of stinks. And we're talking about the pot hanger that hangs off of chains that are just, 4 or 5 rods going across. So I came up with this mechanism. You create your S-hook, but then you bring it all the way around into a curly Q with a gap that allows you to slide it over the rail this way, pivot, and then now it's hanging there. And now when you push up, it doesn't slide off the rail. Only the pot comes off. So that's what I'm going to be making another one of today. Let's see what we got seeing here. Cold rolled, yep. It's not even expensive steel. So if I had a ceiling, I do, but I can't now. I have to be able to get up there to do that. That's not a horrible idea, though. I'll think about that. In the meantime, like I said, I don't need the lengths I have, so I'm just going to cut them down. But like I said, let's first do first things first, and quickly crown that. And I do have the safety glasses on. Of course, I shouldn't be grinding from that side because it's throwing sparks at me. There we go. That's better. For anybody wondering, the angle grinder is not my tool of choice, but it's what I got handy. Good enough. So all I did was create the multiple angles, then round it off. we go. Nothing major. But now, when it mushrooms, I'll have a better focal point that I'm hitting it at. I would have definitely enjoyed using a belt grinder for that. I might still end up trying to figure out how to dig it out of the back of my garage for that. All right, next step. We're gonna actually measure this, Jack, or are we gonna just eyeball it? Actually, I know how to measure it. All it takes is having two of them. And then you just eyeball it. Get your crayon, eyeball it, mark it, flip it around, mark it. It'll be somewhere in between. All right, so that's about eyeballed good enough for the first go. Mark it. Oh, the crayon came off. I'll go ahead and get a little more crayon out there. All right, let's double check that since I had to let go of so many things. There's my mark. Bring it around. And we can just spitball it. It doesn't have to be exact because this isn't... Oh yeah, that was way off. Oh no, it's not. However, there's a challenge. I need to open my door if I'm going to do this. Because the door got in the way. All right. Mark it. And yeah, so I'm off by a few inches, but I can actually figure it out from there. Then once I cut one, the length will be pretty consistent on the other one. There's that mark. There's this. I was off by 1 inch. And there's the 1 inch. Just cut it right there and I should be fairly close to 3 feet on each side. Make sure I get the actual mark, the correct mark. There we go. There we go. One done. Now I can store that. Let's see how close I was. I was off by about 3/8 of an inch. Not enough to cry about. And now it fits neatly under the forge. There it is. Put that on the foot. There we go. See, right there. Won't be kicking me in, hitting me in the shin. Let's do it again. No need to go crazy with the measuring this time. Just take the one I already have. And move it to where actually I can get to where the cut needs to be. move it in like that much. Oh. Grab onto the right piece of metal. There we go. Cut it there. So I hope everybody's getting a good start to their weekend and had a good week to get to this point. Make sure I see where my crayon mark is. Okay. Let's try that again. There. Yep, I was right. Okay. Wrong utensil. There we go. It skipped when I started cutting it, so it's not going to be quite right, but it'll be close enough. That with my measuring stuff. I might actually get organized in here one day, but I wouldn't count on it. Yep, I made the exact same difference in my cuts as I did last time, it turns out. Well, not exact. Actually, that one's even weirder. Doesn't matter. Now, we just need to take a look at the one that we made previously. Anvil. We need to make some estimation as to how much material we're talking about. That scroll is all of that there. Plus it's been tapered up to that point, so I can actually extend the scroll off there. Go there, keep rolling. This is where a piece of string would be handy. I don't have any right now. Okay, we got to that point. About right there. Okay. So my estimation was that it was going to take about 7 inches. Let's see what we actually ended up with. 8. I keep being off by an inch. Don't tell my wife. Oh, and I did indeed leave my brand new chisel in the house in a very appropriate place, the place where you grab your keys from and stuff, except that I just neglected to actually grab anything from there last time. So now I have it. I'm ready to actually, you know, chisel pretty lines and stuff. All right. So we're going to see, I definitely have measured it as 8 inches. Now I'm just going to take another look at this and do some different way of estimating to see if I really want to make it that long. I think I do though. So the first chunk of it is 4 inches. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, no wonder I was way off. 4 inches, so 8 inches. We'll go for it. Yes, the tapers will, but then the tapers will get scrolled. So I agree. Hey, morning, Daniel. No, I'm pretty sure that the beginner project today is simply creating nice little tapers and nice little scrolls. So honestly, making an S-hook is a nice beginner project. All I'm doing is taking it one step further. So let's get back over here. But cutting stock is something that definitely takes up time in a blacksmith shop. You could hot cut it, or you can just do what I'm doing. I will have a hot cut Hardy here soon though, so that's good. Mark it, cut it. The other thing I also know is if it ends up being longer, which I don't think it will be, but if it ends up being longer, that just means we put a shorter pot on it. All right, cut that piece off. Put the rest of it away. I probably should start making a bunch of these and putting them on an Etsy store or something. Actually, as much as YouTube creators pimp Squarespace, I probably should try to see what that would get me. All I'm doing now, for those who wonder, is taking down the sharp corners. There's no sense in having them. I'm not very good at angle grinding blind grinds, but that does the trick. All right, let's get this fire stoked back up again. Grab a pair of tongs. This is not a tongless project unless I kept it on the bar stock. But I actually want to see if I'm good at estimating this. Grab tong clips so I can actually keep it on the tool rest. There we go. My turkeys are out being fluffy this morning. Speaking of tool rest, let's get the one out here that I forged and fabricated. There we go. We'll take you out to the outside world real quick. There they are, being super fluffy. So let's get the fire going. Fire's not really forging temp at the moment because I let it die down, but we'll get that resolved here in a minute. Now bring it back into the smithy. You can see things from a different angle for a change. Now this is going to be the weirdest thing. Hi there. I honestly am not too used to talking at cameras, right? Most of the time I'm talking at faces on a Zoom call. So, all right, that's hot enough to actually forge into a taper. Doesn't take much with 1/4 inch stock. So let's go ahead and grab my needle hammer And you might actually want to see the anvil, what I'm doing. Nice taper, real short one. Then we'll pull it back with the next heat. In a future video, I think I am going to see what the difference is if you start the taper further back and then bring it forward, because the video I was watching, blacksmith school or something like that, he always talks about leaving the lump on the end. Yep, and I burned it. That's fast. That fire got hot fast. So let's brush it off and see how much damage I did. Throw those sparks at the expensive battery that's running everything here. Yeah, that's ugly. Let's show the camera. Yep, anvil. That came out a little sparkly and lumpy. We can definitely deal with that though. It just goes to show I haven't used such small material in a while. It'll definitely give it that rustic, hand-forged look. It's in the black at this point, so this is just going to smooth the metal from the mistake I made. You can see it's me not holding it straight too has gotten it twisted, so let's see if we can get it untwisted. All right. A little less gabbing for a second here. Hey, Rob. Thanks for joining us today. It's always fun to have a nice little party of fellow smiths in here. Occasionally I get a lot of feedback. It's almost like I have a little mentor group here. And I was kind of looking for something like that here locally. There's a lot of smiths here in the area, but what's funny is we don't have our own chapter of Abana or anything right here in the Seattle area, even though there's a smithing school, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, see how it got all twisted there? We can fix that real quick and easy. I'll just go get my twisting wrench and give it a twist. I want a twist in the long run, but not at this point. And that's all about not paying attention how I'm holding my tong, which is at an angle from, there we go. I kind of forget that I can't hold my tong flat. I have to actually hold it at an angle. And so as I'm striking it, I'm giving myself a twist. So I kind of have to keep an eyeball on the area back here. You know, everybody talked, I've said this in earlier live streams, everybody talked about hammer control, and nobody really talked about tong control. There's a lot to controlling your tong hand and getting an effective result out of your forging. All right, that's a nice taper. I'm going to go ahead and roll that taper, round it I should say. So my turkeys, for those old enough to know, were gifted to us with names. Bob and Doug. They've been raised together their whole life. They're assumed to be brothers. So we're not necessarily in the Great White North, but we're pretty darn close to it. Happy little accidents. A meat popsicle. Chicken, good. That's right. All my hammers are happy little hammers. All right. Now we'll go ahead and knock off the corners. Knock off the corners. It does like to get a little twist on it when I'm doing that. Probably means something about how I'm hitting things. Knock off more corners than the others. Instead of 8, now I have something closer to 16. Sides. And I think in the black here I can get away with just smoothing it all the way around. No wailing on material today, not at a 1/4 inch. All right, that looks pretty good. Yep, we can scroll that now, but I think before I scroll it, no, I'm going to go ahead and scroll that. I'm not going to curve it around into a hook, I'm just going to scroll it. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Yeah. And why? Just because if I let go of this right now and try to hold the other end, it's not going to hold it very well. If I give it a scroll, it'll have a little thing to hold on to. Square, octagon, round. Something else a gone. What the heck a gone? There you go. Tone it down a little. Happy little Smiths. And now I'm just trying to be real careful not to burn off that tip, because it will get hot fast. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and push that over, keep pushing it over, and then we're going to go ahead and just keep on swimming. And I am going to make it quite tight, but hopefully while never pinching anything. Let's get it hot again. The fluffy boys are being super pretty today. We've got a a hen who started laying again, so I think they're vying for her affection. Yeah, you're even making that poofy sound. All right, that is about as rounded as it needs to be. Any bigger than that, it might not fit through a pot handle. So we gotta be careful about how big we make that loop. Next to, take it out of here. I almost decided, yep, I think I'll take a preemptive drink of coffee, because the next stage is probably going to be the dropsy stage. Let's see if I can make it that pretty on the other side. This is going to put the other ones I've made it to shame. Or I'll just burn it up and then I'll feel more like myself again. All right. Grab my flat jaw tong. Grab it. Actually, I'm going to quench it so I don't accidentally pinch it or anything while I'm doing this. There we go. Don't do that with any kind of steel that isn't cold or isn't mild steel. Let's tuck it back in there real good. Yep, that'll work. Put the clip on. Back into the fire. All right. Put you back out there for a little bit while I get this hot enough to work with. Go ahead and make a taper again. There we go. I can pull that taper back just a little bit. Because this is mild and it's 1/4 inch. At this temperature, I can continue forging it a little bit without a whole lot of risk. All right. So for those out there that are going to comment on the video post live stream, yes, I just forged it while it was black. The only reason for the heat on mild steel is to make it easier to forge. You can introduce some stress risers and stuff in there, but when you work with really small stuff, as long as you're not making any major changes of dimension, you're probably safe. It is possible, though, when you get down towards the tip of a taper, to start folding that taper over on itself, which is, again, causes cold shuts and so forth, and then you'll start having bad things happen, so keep all that in mind. And this is not me speaking from, understanding the metallurgy a whole lot, but just from having made the mistakes. Corners. Corners. I got lucky, I didn't twist it this time. Bent it, but I didn't twist it. So now we can check the way I created my corners. Need to be a bit deeper on the top part. All right. That's more like it. Now I can get it 16 sides. I've never been very good at making sure I'm consistent there. So this time I decided I would be. Pull some of this coca in over the top. If I can see that much fire, it's probably I'm putting way too much oxygen on my material and not having my material up high enough in the fire. All right, so let's see if I can see it to tell where the 16 sides are. Stock this small, it just gets to be harder and harder to do that, so now I can just start rolling it. Lots of tapping, just I'm constantly moving it at this point to try and not create facets so much as smooth it out. That looks pretty good. Keep the surface of the anvil clean. Back on top of the fire. Yes, very cold steel definitely will. Yard floof. Yep. Herbal tea rhubarb. Nice. We were just reading about rhubarb and the way they grow it in the UK to make it extra sweet. They grow it in the dark so that the leaves are kind of wilted and don't suck up the sugars from the stalk. And craziest thing is, you can actually hear it grow. So, as I got older and started realizing some of the ways that I was a little different than my fellow man, I finally asked my dad a question. I said, "Dad, what was I into when I was a kid?" And his answer was very enlightening. He said, "Everything." I think I just proved that again just now, so warm that up again. Look at that. The other yard floof. They're competing for who's the floofiest. Yes, you are a pretty boy. Shaking around. They're making all the noises. Oh, shoot. And there's where I said it would happen. Isn't that ugly? Let's see what we can do about it. Looks like we get to brush it smooth. That's good. A little bit of lumpiness. Let's see if we can smooth that just by working it a little. Not horrible, but would have been best if I didn't pay so much attention to the floofy boys and more attention to how hot the fire would make that. But it doesn't look bad. Give my rounded nature back to it. There we go. Didn't burn it horribly, just the tiniest bit. Here, let me zoom in, because I can. Now, where do I need to hold it so you can see it best? There it is. So you can see it burned a little bit, but a little bit of brushing made it almost imperceptible. It's never going to be imperceptible to those of us who know what we're looking at. I just realized I still had this up high. There we go. There we go. That's better. No wonder I had to hold it so close to get it to focus. There we go. Wire brushing that probably will help a little bit, but I don't think it'll ever make it go away altogether. So now it's time to put a twist in it. Let's get the vice cam ready so we can show the twisting. Da, 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 da. Pretty good. Where are you at? There you are. All right. There we go. Almost perfect. Give it that decorative twist. Make sure I'm not going to hit anything in the process. We're good. This is already set up to the right thickness. And let's heat it up without burning it up. That's the fun part. Stick it much further into the fire. In this case, I think, yeah, we're going to put it much deeper into the fire. We're going to lay it on top. I think just in case, I'm going to cool that tip off. All right, now back onto the fire. We'll get this tool stand out of my way so I don't trip on it. We're getting there. Right there. Tiny little cave. Okay, we got the heat. Let's lock it in here. Right there. Actually, I'm going to go just a hair higher. There we go. This is where I should have thought about what I was going to hit. Because this is when it'll happen. Move it to the outer edge here. I really need to get myself now. There's going to be some twisting that needs to be done. I have to actually pull it out of my tongs to be able to see what I need, what twist it needs to be to get the curls opposing. So let's do that now. I'm going to switch tongs. Okay, so it needs to go around just a little bit more, and that's okay because I want to actually extend the twist a little further down. So back on the fire. Cool these tongs off, and that's why I like to have not spring steel tongs. So I recognize what he's saying, but I don't know about it. Now I'll be able to see, because I'll be able to drop the tong. All right, there we go. Bring her back over here. It's nice and hot right there, which means it should twist more there. There we go. And I can see now that is about the place where I need it to be opposite. All right, let's take a look. Did I get it opposite? Pretty darn close. Let's see if I can get it the rest of the way. There we go. Bring her back here. So now we have a decorative twist there. I'll end up getting it a little bit straightened out to, it's not the perfect twist. I think I could make the perfect twist, but then I would get these curly cues misaligned. Let's go ahead and grab the wacky wacky no marky marky. Go. Try to get everything planar. Coplanar? Maybe that's the right word. In alignment and straight and stuff. I like it. I think that's good enough to then put the curl into. I mean the hook, the loop in. Yeah. The S parts into. So I'm going to go ahead and first turn this into a plain old S hook. Then we'll work on the next part, which is to take the S hook, the side of the S hook that I think is most deserving, and turn it into a curly cue. So, back into the fire. And I only recently learned, and still keep making the mistake, that I shouldn't just poke my material into the fire, that it's more like lay it on top and push it down a little bit. And so I'll build that new muscle here soon. And this is the part where a bending jig would be nice to have, but it's not necessary. You've got a horn on your anvil for a reason. But if you did need it all come out always the same every time, yeah, let's deal with that problem. That has knocked everything over from my vice cam. There we go. It's okay, it's a GoPro, it can handle it. All right. The Canuck geese are a honkin'. I just learned this week how to pronounce the name of this mic I wear, the Lavalier mic. And now I wonder, what does it here? It's supposed to be best for actually picking up my voice. I'm recording myself this time so I can actually listen back to it. I actually could always watch my own YouTube video too to find out. I'm probably warming up more of this than I need to. But I do need to make sure I cool off the curly cue so I don't mess it up. All right. You know what I realized is I'm not pointing to the right place at this point. There we go. Too close, too close. All right, now we're pointing at the right place. You get to see some of the movie magic happening there with the Stream Deck. Yeah, I agree. A cone hardy would be nice, definitely. That'll be something down the road coming. I have goals. And because I had to reposition the camera, I had to put that back into the fire to warm it back up again because it gets hot fast and it cools off fast. All right. Curly cue quenched. Now I can actually... I probably could hit it with a regular hammer at this point, but I really don't want to. And it's time for your favorite beverage. First drop of the day. There we go. That's a better grab. There we go. Use it to actually open it too. Don't know if people know that when they're watching a blacksmith, that the horn isn't just for bending things around, it's also for opening things up. So that's what I just did there. So now we flip it around and do it again on the other side. Got a nice enough curve on that. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I can live with that. I might end up shoving this down that way a little bit. Let me see something here. I need the old one. There it is. Yep, it's up too high. It's not horrible. Like I said, if you need it to be the same every time, get a jig. Actually, that's not bad, especially since I know what's going to be hanging on it. I'll leave that as is. It could be pushed down that way a little bit, and we'll see if it needs to be when I get done looping the other side. It's all about making a balanced S, so you don't have too much material on either side of the S. Both for aesthetic purposes and because wherever you're going to use it, there's probably, you know, some benefit to having both sides of the S the same size. It doesn't want to swing funny if you have it balanced. Let's take a look. Pretty close. Quench off the end. Bring it back over here. There we go. And that's, I think, why I will end up shoving it down, because if you see now, this is the size I think I really want it to be. However, this is now, I think what I'm really just determined is, let me see here. I'm going to open this up just a hair. Let me get the other one again. So you can see, I should probably open it up just a hair. Yeah. There we go. Good. Now a handle should fit on there just fine. And this other side will end up being the curly Q, because I think that's just going to work out the best. But there you have the S hook. The very excellent beginner blacksmith project right there. A nice little decorative hook that can be hung about anywhere to then hang something else on the other end. So very utilitarian. And that's drop C3, so it's time for me to take a drink break. Put this over here for a moment. Make sure I don't have any more. Yep, there we go. I'll give it a nice quick brush so I can take a look at it and see what I like, what I don't like about my effort. All right, flip it around. This is not as effective as wire wheeling, but it gets it pretty close. Pretty close. And just keep dropping it on the ground, and that'll be the equivalent of sandblasting it. Let's see if I'm going to melt. Okay, so that's cooled off enough that it did not melt the cable that it just got hung up on. All right, so let's take a look at that burned piece. So that's not the burnt side, as it looks quite nice. Let me just pull you up here, because it'll make a lot more sense if you're actually able to see what I'm seeing. To me, that's clearly not the burnt side. Now, I could be wrong when I flip it around, but I'm pretty sure that's not the burnt side. It looks pretty good. It's a little twisted. I can heat that up and fix that. Oh, that's just, you can see a little hammer mark right there. It's a little different color than the rest. And that's just because of where the transition between rounded to square is. I could probably give that a nice little whack and it'll put it right into shape. Let's take a look at the other side. See if I can drop it again. And, you know, it'd be helpful is if I just had two hands to work with. There we go. So let's look at that one. Yep, that's the burnt side. I can't unsee it. And what I see is that it's a little bit blobby on the inside arc of that tapered, scrolled taper. It's not going to cause any harm in actually accomplishing its goal, especially because that's going to be the side that I'm going to loop around into the curly Q. So, not my proudest moment, but all in all, it's a pretty nice looking S hook. I don't think I would end up selling it simply because of that blemish. All right, now this part is annoying. Let's get on to it. All right, the first thing is for me to remember which side I'm putting the curly cues on, just so I'm consistent. And if you look, you can see my earlier ones were not prettier. You know, they're not bad, but they're not prettier. And if you look at this one, you can see I also burnt that one. But that gets up so high onto my rack as to nobody being able to see it anyway. So I'm willing to live with it, but I wouldn't want to sell it to somebody else. It just doesn't show good pride and craftsmanship. So let's go ahead and put this way over here so I can have it as a reference, and let's get this back into the fire and try not to burn it up. The key there is going to be just do little bits at a time. Don't try to do it all at once. Yep. And I'm actually purposely leaving it so I can see into it, because that little scroll will want to burn so fast. All right, there we go. I'm going to use my little scrolling tongs here. I'm going to grab it, just start working it around. Tighter than what I made it originally. And that's as far as that's going to go this time around. But what I have learned from experience is that you want this going straight up before you're done. Else it'll just slide right off of the, get it over here where you can see it. This part, which is now going straight down, if you don't have it going along the same line as this, it won't stay on your, it won't accomplish its goal. It'll come right off of the pot rack. So now I'm not actually heating that area anymore. I'm done with heating that area. We're heating the area just behind the area I just turned. All right. And we'll twist that around until it's facing up. And now it's facing up. And it's got a gap. That gap does need to come away, but not like a lot. You can see that gap there if I get it into view. There we go. Like that. That should do the trick. Let's see if I got it right. You know what I did wrong? Ha! Everybody could see what I did wrong. I went the wrong way. The good news is, nobody's going to care in my household. The bad news is, that wasn't creating a consistent work product. So, that's annoying to me. But I'm not going to undo it, because undoing it brings the risk of burning it, putting it in the wrong place a second time, and marring the work effort that I have there already. So best to leave it. Let's go ahead and warm back up the other side and get it laying flat. And then we'll brush it off again. This time I probably will use the wire wheel because I've got that curly cue. All right, I don't need the scrolling tongs anymore. Let's go ahead and put them out of my way. And now, go ahead and move my fire just a little bit. There we go. All right, grab my hammer, give that a little tap to get it laying. There we go. Nice and in line now. That way. There we go. See, nice and in line now. That is a done pot hanger hook. Other one. There we go. This brush is about done. Almost time to order another one. It's not exciting work to see, but might as well show you what I'm doing. Okay, let's get right at the curly cue. There we go. Nice, nice. Just getting off all that forged scale that accumulates after you've pulled it out of the fire. Ah, yep. I knew that would show up more now. That's okay. All right, that is nicely wire wheeled. And bring you in again to show you the. Oop. Well, that's funny. I didn't even know I could do that. Let's try that again. All right. There we go. You can see with the scale off, you can see where the pitting is from it getting burnt. So. Let me see what John said. Yeah, I mean, the jig probably would have kept me from twisting it in the wrong direction. Maybe. Heavens knows, if I can come up with a way to misuse a tool, I probably can. Appreciate it, Daniel. Yeah, that'll buff right out. I don't think so. All right, we're going to go ahead and just set that on top, stoke the fire so it gets the area, general area up to 300 or so degrees. Grab good old beeswax. We can set this. Grab the hook. Just hot enough to melt that wax good and smoke a little. Now, I just watched somebody else do some, I think it was Trent. Yeah, it was Trent who talked about you can finish things with beeswax, and that will give it some level of protection. And I use beeswax specifically because this is going into a kitchen, so I need food safe. But if you really wanted to protect it, you probably should do, you know, a baked on finish. And yeah, this isn't hot enough now because I can see it picked, now it hit the ground. It hit the floor. Now I gotta get low, low, low. All right, we'll rinse that off, which, no, we wouldn't want to do that if we were really caring about that heat, but we can get the heat again here. But yeah, he said, you know, do a couple of coats just like you were curing a pan. And he's not wrong. There we go. Now it should get in and protect. Hey, you know what? That is the most exciting view. I can see it. Everybody just missed the fact that I was able to use a hook to move the hook. Dag nabbit. This is what I did. 'Cause I'm a genius. All right, that's got a good coat on it. Go ahead and double up this rag, quadruple up the rag, wipe off excess. Try not to burn myself in the process, because it is a hook and it comes around and touches you in places you didn't anticipate. All right, and there we go. A done hook. Prettier than any of the others I've made so far, so maybe I'll switch it up and start curling around on the opposite side just 'cause. All right, let me set this aside. We'll come back to that after when I need to take it in. Maybe when I take a photo to put up on Instagram. And I will bring this back over here real quick because I have to point out something. This is a good topic to say. I was wrong, and yet I think it's still a reasonable result. This was the original piece, and I estimated that it took about 8 inches of material to pull that off. Now maybe, but I don't think so. No, I'm looking at it. It's not. It's going to say maybe I tapered this longer, but that's not the case. This one is 8 inches of material, and you can see we're short by looks like an inch. I'm going to actually give it a good measure here. Where's my hook ruler? There it is. Let's just do it from there to there. There we go. From curly Q down, and even then the curly Q is not quite as big around as it was before. Yeah, that is an inch of material difference. So the fact is, if I needed it to be the same size as that one, which I don't, because this is going to be perfectly functional, but if I did, then I would actually need it to be a 9-inch starting stock. Let's see if I can remember that next time. Don't count on it, but let's see if I can. Yeah, making these kinds of things and then stopping and spending time to inspect what you did, give it a critical thought, is really, really important, because that's how you learn. And in this case, the critical thought is my estimation skills need to improve, and they will, slowly. So there you go. Need a hook? Make a hook. Now, what I need is a cutoff hardy. So let's make a cutoff hardy. Some of you might remember that I was talking about this piece of material. Let's see if I can figure out which direction I have to focus. There we go. That started life as a jackhammer bit, and I forged down to fit into my hardy hole. The collar on the jackhammer bit's really useful because I don't have to collar anything. I mean, I do have a couple of misstrikes if I really cared about that, but I don't, because it's sitting here nice and pretty without really being a problem. I guess if I really wanted to, I could heat that up, smack it into my anvil, and deal with that. But the biggest challenge I have with doing something like that is I don't want to hurt my anvil. This is where there's a tool I'm just going to have to buy, because it'd be nice if I were in frame when I'm talking to you guys. There's a tool that I'm going to have to buy. There's no way getting around this one, because I'm not going to make this tool, and that is a oh, it's escaping me now. What's the name of the tool? It's a block of steel with holes in it, holes, divots, and so forth, and I just can't think what the dang thing's called now. It'll come back to me, and I need to spend money on that one, because I just don't. I'm not going to make that one. That's not something I can do by hand. And then, you know, have the appropriate stand for it. Swage block. Thank you, Rob, and John, and Kevin, and Daniel. I need a swage block and a swage block stand, and then I wouldn't be so hurt about, you know, smacking heavy on top of that. So, but yeah, definitely not going to take a sledgehammer to the top of my my anvil. All right, I need a pair of tongs that can hold on to that. Do I even own such a pair? This is cold still. Yep. Pull that back out. That pair might do the trick. As I play dropsies. Don't touch the hot part. Let's see what I knocked about here. Everybody's, yeah, that's a aliveness check, right? I now know everybody out there is alive, and that's a good thing. I think what I need to do is adjust this set of tongs to be able to hold this, or else I'm never going to be able to work this piece. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and put this on the floor so I don't go down there and just pick it up like I did the other time I was working on something hot. Let's open this pair of tongs up just a little bit. And now I know why smiths have multiple sizes of tongs. It's just to save them the hassle of having to resize things. I forgot to take that coffee drink earlier. I'm sorry I drone on in such a way as to just make you doze off there, Kevin, unless, of course, you're just lacking in sleep, and then I'm glad I was able to help. Or was it pretty Hawaiian music playing in the background? Overly soothed. Yes, it definitely is soothing to work here in the forge. We're getting there. Let's pull some more fuel on top. There we go. Doing my part for global warming. All right. So, I think my first move is to spread it open just a little bit. Yes. Mm-hmm. These weren't the best made tongs anyway. They were my first go at this Yeah, there was already heat in there. Moving its way down. There we go. Let me grab my my glove just in case. No, not just in case. I know I'm going to want to hold on to it, and I don't have enough things to hold on to it with. Here we go. That should do the trick. Let's grab hold of it. Yeah, I got a nice springiness there. I can actually grab it further up, further down. About the only problem, let me see, is I relieved the corners of this hardy tool, and so it doesn't want to. It wants to pivot, but I think that'll do the trick. Let me grab a clip, slip it on. Got lots of springiness in these handles, and throw it in the fire. And now it's time to put away this nice light hammer and go ahead and grab my heavier hammer again. Time to hit some heavy steel. Go. This should be fun to see. Can I do something useful? Let me see. Morning, Thomas. You're in, where are you? Are you and Roy in Ohio? Anyway, I think thinking about it, you might be just coming up on afternoon. How long do you make a stake turner from head of the railroad spike to tip before doing the hook? Northern Michigan. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I visited there a couple times. Not a place that I would want to live, but you know, you do you. Has too much opportunity for snow there. What is 1336, and how in the world have why can't I figure out what 1336 means? I mean, how far back from the grill do you need to get? And you're talking from the bottom of the handle, right? Oh, got it, 1336. So it is afternoon. Yeah, I lived in Chicago, so occasionally we would go over that way. My nieces and nephew lived in Lansing, and then Detroit. Yeah, I would think that'd be for a large grill. So I'm thinking as I make this hot cut hardy tool of, get this out of the way so I can put it, of leaving the what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is that right? Yeah, so it's the thing I like to make. The 6 sides at the base above the collar, and then as just, you know, kind of tribute to what the source material was. No reason to forge that, I don't think. But then forge from there what I actually need. Now, what I haven't figured out yet is what is the best shape for a hot cut hardy. I have seen just straight flat sides with a wedge flat on one side, and then when you make your cut, you know, it can be a straight cut, and if you do it in one way, or it can be you know, a tapered cut if you do it from the other side of it. One side's going to always be tapered. Or it can be the same thing except 2 tapers, tapered on both sides. I've also seen something that looks very similar to my hot cut chisel as a hot cut hardy, you know, shaped in that way. Instead of flat across the top, it's got the roll. And so I don't know if I'm going to end up making multiple of these, but I think it all starts with spreading the material from the base at the collar out, and then we can decide which of those forms it'll take in the long run. Wait a minute. Jeff, have you been lurking on here the whole time? I don't think I saw you say good morning or anything. Howdy do. That's true, it would be. And yet, I've never heard anybody call that out when they're using it at the anvil for cutting off a piece of material. And I'm trying to remember who it was I saw that actually used that style. Oh, wait a minute. Was it Jeff that came on? I thought it was Eric that came on that said he wasn't going to be able to chat too much. Now I can't see. Yeah, it was Eric that I was thinking of. So I must have missed it when he jumped in here. I mean, doing what I'm actually supposed to do, paying attention to the work I'm doing. All right, let's take a couple of whacks at it. That's the wrong way, Jack. That's the right way. Because I have to keep it square. Boy, that's a hard material. Woo! Yeah, that popped right out of my tongs. Gave me a very, very quick glancing burn. Nothing I can even feel. But that is a hard material to work with. You gotta know, when your dirt floor smokes after picking up stuff, that's a pretty rich dirt you can grow stuff in. Lots of organic material. All right. There's where I hit it. Let's get a hold of it again. This is going to be tricky. These tongs aren't made for the job. And it's an unusual job for me. Uh-oh. My camera must have gotten bumped. Yep, it did. I'll fix that. Yep, wrong thing. That button. There we go. Fortunately, it must have just been my foot that bumped it, not the hot material. All right, let's get it hotter. That was hot. Let's get it hotter. All right, you guys, don't get mean with each other. Must get it hotter. Oh no, this is not a beginner project, right? Oh, see you later, John. Have a great weekend. Yeah, this one's going to have to get hotter because of how hard this material is. I was not giving it the respect it deserves. All right, let's pull this. Let's get it hotter. Let's go through some coal here, huh? That was that big boy crawling. You don't say. There we go. Now it's starting to look almost the right color. Bunch of fuel on top of that kind of metal. This isn't some wimpy 1/4 inch mild steel. This is something you should have a power hammer for. Turkey tempering. Yes, they're definitely tempering all right. Let's see if we can hit it while it's hot. Get the hose. The one with the slightly ratty feathers is actually the dominant one. And yeah, it should be air hardening steel. It's a jackhammer bit, right? Oh yeah, I'm starting to see the color in the collar. Means I'm getting somewhere. All right, let's take a look. All right, that's kind of sparkly at the end. Let's, there we go. Ah, all right, I could fix that. And there it is, wanting to pop out. Time to adjust the tongs before I hurt myself. Just got it a little off center there. I should be able to fix that either by hitting it right or giving it a twist. So let's get this pivoted such a way that when I hit it right, it doesn't twist out of my tongs. All right, we're going to go from top to bottom for a change. See if that will give me enough to work with, but we need to get it hotter again. Oh, we're middle twist and a hot cut. Already hardening at red heat. That's interesting to know. I mean, I knew it would be air hardening. I just didn't know when that happens. Yeah, ornamental twist on a hot cut's not going to do a good job. But you know, if that's what it takes to actually get it facing the right way, I'm not above doing something like that. Not for my first time making a tool like this. Fancy cuts. I mean, wouldn't you use an ornamental hot cut when you're doing ornamental work? Seems to make sense. All right. It doesn't seem hot enough. It's hot, it just doesn't seem hot enough. I'm gonna get it a little hotter. "21 notifications. My goodness, I've been popular today." All right, that's hot enough. Let's get it just in the right angle here. It really does want to just jump right out of these tongs. Crazy man thinking I could actually make one of these. Whew, that's hot. Might need a glove just to hammer near this thing. Come on. Goofed up and let go. There we go. Yeah, no, I really do need to hold on to it from the corners. Okay. There we go. All right. Good, good. Get that in there. There we go. I love his fish. His fish is gorgeous. With the fish tail, it's awesome. I don't know if I'm ready to go into that level of creativity yet, but I'm not for my tool anyway. But it is pretty darn cool. Let's see if that's hot enough to do some good. Actually, put that back in there. As I said a few minutes ago, that is hot. It is time to put on a glove. I don't care for having a glove on my hammer hand, but in this case, it seems like the wise move. Yeah, that may be the way to go. All right. And it popped right off of there. It very well may be. We're coming up on the end of this live stream this week. That may be what I need to do, is go and invest in a couple of other. You can see my my glove wants to smoke at the thought of being near this metal. All right, and you get out of the way of flying hot metal. As a matter of fact, you get out of the way of pretty much all flying metal, but the hot stuff especially. I think I got it squared back up again. That looks about right. So I've accomplished my goal this morning, which is to get this thing started the right way. So I think I'll leave it at that. Going forward, if I can keep it that way, I may end up having to do a little bit more pivoting and hitting, or turn it over and hit it. Well, that's, yeah, you can see the radius that, here, I'm pointing the wrong way. You can see the kind of a radius that this created by having to twist it and put it in there. So it might make sense that the next time I hit it, I do it by coming along this way and hitting it. But that is getting pretty close to the square I need it to be. At which point then it's about creating a long taper. We'll use the, maybe use the horn for that. We'll come back to that and figure it out. In the meantime, I'm just going to set this in the fire and let it soak up that heat, and then come to its cool down naturally. Let's really get it in there as the fire itself extinguishes. I think that's a good start. Good start. No leaves today. I know there's probably somebody out there who's disappointed about that, but that's where we're at. A little bit new process here. Get some things done that have to get done. I did. Let me show you. I had it here. Now I got to figure out what I did with it. Ah, there it is. I did finish this last week, with the exception of drilling holes. So that's what I'm going to go do now, is shut off the camera, throw a couple of holes in those, and then my wife can decide where she wants to put them. I think I do need to go and get one tool, maybe a run over to the big box store and pick up, what the heck's it called? The drill bit that puts, that relieves the edge of a thing. It is, I know what it's called. Anyway, yeah, one of those, so that you know, it's not an ugly hole. It's a cleaner hole when it's done. And then I need to pick up a couple of rounded head screws that I think will look nice with that. slotted probably. Give it the same finish, and then my wife can decide where she wants to put it. So that was last week's work. It'll have to suffice for now, and that'll probably be what I do next week, unless my wife tells me there's another thing she needs me to make. So, countersink, thank you. See, they're still awake. All right, folks. It has been loads of fun getting stuff done in the company of some fellow smiths. Get out, smith something. Send me a note what you smithed and where I can go see it. It'd be great if you just come back to this live stream after the stream and just post, you know, a link to where I can see some of the things you guys are making. That'd be a lot of fun to see. Until then, we'll see you next week. Have a great week. See you at Blacksmith Church tomorrow if you happen to be one that drops in there. Love and light.